SHTF. Now we all know what that means, right? Something horribly, terribly freaky. Now there's 4 big drawbacks to shotguns for any type of use. Number 1 is their size. They're generally all big, bulky, long guns. There's a few short ones out there, I know, but most of them are all big and bulky and long, and that's what you need to get full use out of the cartridges. Number 2 is the cartridges, the shells. They're big, they're kind of heavy, they're bulky. You can only fit about 5 or 6 in a magazine in most shotguns, and you can't carry a ton of them because they're big and heavy. Recoil. They have a lot of recoil. They have a ton of recoil. Shotguns wallop. And for the amount of recoil they don't have a lot of distance. That's the 4th one, is distance. Shotguns are a close range weapon. The best shotguns out there with the very best barrels and the best ammo and the very best shots can hit maybe a 200-yard target with the most expensive sabots they have. But if you're talking, you're going to go down to the hardware store or any standard outdoor store, gun store, and pick up shotgun ammunition, any of the slugs or any of the shot they have, and any of the shotguns, you're short range. Basically 50 yards max with shot or buckshot, 150 yards max pretty much with slugs. So they're short range, they're heavy, they're bulky, they're loud, and they kick hard when you shoot. But I love them, and here's why. Now this was my first weapon that I ever owned, my 12 gauge shotgun that I got for my 14th birthday. This thing has been through the ringer. It's actually made in the 50s. This is an old pump shotgun made in the 50s. It was re-blued when I got it for my birthday, but this thing is heavily worn. It's been beat up and knocked around, and it just won't quit. I had to do one minor little adjustment on the shell extractor at one point. That's all. I've shot thousands of rounds through this. There's probably been thousands of rounds before I got it. See, shotguns are tough. They're big, heavy, and bulky, but they're very tough. They're just tough, and they're very simple. Shotguns are simple pieces of equipment, especially the single shots and the pumps. I like those more than the auto loaders because they're simple, and I appreciate simplicity. That being said, I don't like single shots because you can only get one shot. I mean, you can get a double barrel with 2 shots, but still, that's 2 shots and you stop and reload. I prefer the pump action shotguns, and no, I don't like the Remington 870 anymore because everything Remington makes is garbage now. If you want a good pump action shotgun, look for some of the older stuff. One that just feels like it's heavy and built like a tank and doesn't feel like if you dropped it off a ladder, it's going to bend in half. Something nice and steady and stout. Power. Shotguns have a lot of power to them. Close range power because they're very inefficient at delivering that power downrange, but they have very, very high power close range. I can get basically elephant rifle type power out of a 12 gauge shotgun with a 3.5 inch hard hitting slug like some of the light fields. Pardon my sweating. Shot and slugs are very, very poorly aerodynamic, and that's just how it is. It's a design limitation of shotguns. But they're very, very, very powerful close range. I really like what I can do even with just a load of birdshot close range. Man, I can blow a hole right through a torso target at 20 feet. It's really beautiful to see. So we got birdshot, buckshot, and slugs. Birdshot is more small game stuff, the cheap ammo, target shooting ammo. We've got our buckshot, which is capable to shoot large game. We've got our slugs, which is definitely good for large game, and even for some of the dangerous game. There's good dangerous game slugs out there too, as long as you are willing to get close enough. Remember, shotguns are close range weapons. You have to be close to get full power out of them. You lose power very, very quickly once you hit that 50-yard mark and past. What about gauge of shotguns? 12 gauge is the most popular. 20 gauge is gaining a lot of traction lately with adults, not just youth shooters, but with adults as well. And that's because, well, it's a little smaller, it's a little lighter weight, the bullets are a little smaller, and people kind of think that a 12 gauge sounds scary. It's not, really. I mean, they can kick hard if you get hot ammo, but they're not really scary. But a 20 gauge is nice. I mean, 20 gauge, you can get about 75–80% of the power out of a 12 gauge, and you get about 40% less weight, and you get quite a bit less recoil too. So they are very nice. They hold the same amount of cartridges in the gun as the 12 gauge. They hold the same number of bullets. They're just a little easier to handle, a little easier to shoot They're still powerful enough for the most part. Personally, I go with the 12 because I know it's a little heavier, it recoils more, but for me, it's more a thing of power. I like that extra power. It gives me a little more distance of good applicable range, and it just gives me more options to do something. All that being considered, I'm not opposed to grabbing my shotgun if I gotta just grab one gun and go. It's not really my favorite. I would rather have my AR, honestly, my 223 AR. But I would not feel undergunned in any situation, for the most part, if I was just carrying my 12 gauge. If I have, some good heavy load, some good buckshot, some good slugs, I'm going to be doing more or less okay in most situations. But something like a nice semi-auto rifle, a AK, a AR, is more applicable for a few other situations too. So that's what I have to tell you about the shotguns for SHTF emergency, freak out, something horrible is happening, I gotta grab a gun type use. On the topic of recoil, how much recoil does a shotgun have? Well, a 12 gauge shotgun can have commonly anywhere between 17 and 35 foot-pounds of recoil. Now, to put that in perspective, your average AR-15 has 2 to 3 foot-pounds of recoil. So compared to my AR, this is a cannon. That's only because the AR is so mild recoiling. All guns used to be big and heavy recoiling for the most part. We started getting into lightweight stuff and then we got spoiled, and now these big ones just feel hard and heavy these days. Now I can go up to 50, 55 foot-pounds of energy, pushing closer to 60 foot-pounds of recoil, of felt recoil. That's insane. Now I said a couple minutes ago, shotguns are inefficient. One of the points of inefficiency is that it takes a lot of recoil to generate a lot of energy downrange. Now that sounds, common sense, more energy equals more kick on the gun, but shotguns have a higher recoil to muzzle energy ratio than most guns do. They just do. It's a nature of the slower speeds that the shot comes out with, the pressure that it works with. It just creates a harder hitting recoil for the same amount of energy that you can get out of a rifle. Still, I like shotguns though. They're so versatile. I can go rabbit hunting and it's not overkill. I can take this same gun moose hunting and it's still going to do the job. So they're insanely versatile, and that's where they win. If you need one gun to do a lot, if you don't have a lot of money to work with, grab a rifle. Grab a shotgun. The shotgun is basically a poor man's replacement for buying both a 22 and a 30-06. I can hunt everything with a shotgun that I can with either a 22 or a 30-06, but it's shorter range and it's going to kick me harder. Those are the differences. But it's versatile, so make your choice. It's not a bad option necessarily. Just consider what's going on, make a good choice. Thanks for watching Gun Tradition. Don't forget to check out more of our videos around here. Click the like button if you feel so inclined, and I'll see you later. Bye now.